Hi, Sally. Thanks for joining us. I'm Karen Sherwood, Director of Cupola Gallery, and I'm very pleased to welcome Sally Roberts to talk a little bit about her exhibition that we have on at the moment called Veiled. So, hi, Sally. Hi. Thanks for having, I believe it's your first solo show with us. I'm very pleased to host it. So just to start with, why did you choose the title Veiled for the exhibition?
It came from a series of work that I've been making, which use bubble wrap wrapped around the figure, and then I paint the shapes that come through that. So that was the veiling and the bubble wrap link. And I'm really excited by that series. I like the theatricality of it. There was a strangeness, and I never really know exactly what's going to happen with it. So it sort of disrupts the process of painting as well.
Do you know why you became interested in using bubble wrap, in wrapping the figures?
Well, it came from several different things. One of them is that I really like detail with painting, with clothes, material. So yeah, so I like the difficulty, the challenge of it. And yeah, there's something about where you hide a face and a body that changes the painting completely. So yeah, and lots of different things.
So are you encouraging people to interpret the paintings in a particular way? Because I've had an awful lot of people kind of give me different opinions about how they see the figures, because you've titled them quite specifically. There are definitely references to classical images. I mean, just behind me, there's one that looks like a Pieta. There's a Statue of Liberty. There's something titled Veil of Tears, which is a biblical reference. So with the titles and the images, are you trying to say something specific, or are you encouraging people to interpret them in their own way?
Well, the storytelling is important to me. So I have my starting point, which is my story. However people interpret it, that's completely their choice. And that's interesting that it comes out in different ways, because I think there's a lot to interpret in different ways. And it's great hearing things that I never intended coming out of it.
Yes.
So the one that's behind you, it's not a Pieta, it's a Bernini sculpture painting. It was my reference point. So I often have an idea, and sometimes an artwork. At the moment, it's often sculptures, which is was unusual for me. So I have like a sculpture and a story, and then I change that and make it into my own thing. And then there's the layer of bubble wrap on top of that, which changes it completely as well. So I can see that. I'm sure that other people have many different ideas that I've never considered, which I find quite exciting, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. So the bubble wrap is a new body of work. So what came before that?
There's a painting in the exhibition of like a bride or a wedding dress. Yes. So I was still doing stories. I guess maybe in a way they were slightly more, no, I think the ones are still personal. Maybe they were slightly more personal, I'm not sure. And I think it was the lace in the bubble wrap the lace in that wedding painting that maybe brought me into the bubble wrap laying. It's the veils and the layer over the body where you can't see the disruption, that sort of thing. So maybe it came from there. So maybe they were more personal, but then again, maybe I like the personal thing with the bubble wrap, but then you sort of hide what the personal meanings are over the top. So
Okay. So it sounds like the bubble wrap series is ongoing. Are you still working with that? Yeah.
I'm not finished with it. I've got a new painting that I'm wanting to start as soon as I can, really. I don't know where it's going, but I feel like I've got a lot more to go with it, and it may become.
That's interesting. So how have you managed to find people that are happy to be wrapped in bubble wrap?
Well, yeah, as you can tell on the show, a lot of the times it is me.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah. So that is a big ask for people.
It is quite a strange thing to be asked to do, yes.
It is. And when you're actually doing it, it feels even more strange when you're actually being photographed back from above. It's very odd. So I feel bad for asking other people to do it, but I do have some people who are happy to do it, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, it's because you talk about theatrical and you kind of get that. They definitely feel like set pieces. So I mean, I reference the one as the Pieta, and you know, I apologize for missing the Bellini reference, although I did think about sculpture and draped sculptures because I thought that was in there. But I do, it feels religious. It feels in that way, the idea of a tableau, you know, kind of a fixed moment in time that is telling a story.
Well, I like the set, which when I say like theatrical, when I'm planning my photos, which are the references for the painting, I like the getting the props together or making props and the costumes. It feels like costumes when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And like with the religious references, and another thing that maybe I did get the layering the bubble wrap from is the church that I went to when I was throughout my life, really, they wrap the statues up in material at certain times of the year.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so which my mum always found as really scary. She doesn't like it at all. But for me, it was so normal because that's what I was used to.
Of course.
Like, oh, right. And they do look quite scary when you go in. There's a lot of them. And it's
all I suppose they look shrouded.
Yeah. But they're all different sizes and are human shapes, but wrapped up. So that might be what I'm doing now with making my my paintings, wrapping them up, wrapping a person up instead of a statue, which I like that strange sort of feeling.
Yeah, because there's kind of connection and disconnection, isn't there? And that is quite curious because they are about stories, but then they're your stories, but we don't know your stories, so we project our own stories. And I've like I say, I've been talking to people about it, and I've had some people say they're fascinated by the painting. Other people say they want to know what's going on under the bubble wrap. I've had other people say it reminds them of an amniotic sac, you know, that idea of a cowl. And I had another woman say it reminds me of the idea of women's stories or women's voices being suppressed. And I was thinking, oh, this is all very, you know, very interesting. So they're definitely intriguing. They are intriguing. And the bubble wrap series has a slightly different color palette to your other work as well. Is that a deliberate choice, or is that just come through the process?
No, that wasn't deliberate at all, actually. It's just whatever color I think is suitable for the story. And I like the idea of suppressed stories. And I think that's also why bubble wrap appeals to me, because you're sort of hiding and revealing. And then there is the confusion of what's actually going on with the story. It's not clear. It's shadowy. I like that.
Absolutely. Because there are a couple of pieces that are not part of the bubble wraps series, and they very clearly there's a lot of you. There is. Is some of that to do with images being made during lockdown?
That's exactly right. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it was lockdown, so people I really had access to was obviously me and then my like immediate family.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think that was actually helpful because I learned such a lot in that time. And yeah, I think the constraint actually helped me work out a new way of working, because I hadn't developed my like storytelling. That was a new part of my work at the time. So I think it was useful in a way, actually.
Okay, no, that's great. Now, the other thing, and it might just be me, but I get a sense of a bit of dark humor from your work. Is that in there, or is that me?
No, I think that's right. Like, there's a particular painting of it sounds okay, a particular painting of like a beheading.
Yes.
Wrapped up in bubble wrap, and I deliberately made the blood look unrealistic, and that was partly like the theatricality, making it look not real. Yeah, so I'm aware that they are paintings, and like sometimes I'm making things out of cardboard and things like that, like angel wings out of cardboard. So I don't want it to look, I don't know, not too professional. It's not the right word. I don't want it to look too. I want it to sort of look a bit like a costume for like a play or something.
Yeah, because I like the juxtapositions, because you've got, as I've said before, there's a classical reference, but then in each painting, they're so obviously 21st century, you know, and that's it, that kind of juxtaposition I like. You know, you've got Perseus beheading Medusa stood on a bed. You know, there are, and you've got the kind of wedding image with the COVID mask and a phone, you know, mobile phone. So there's this classical and absolutely massively up to date elements as well. As you say, you know, laces are a traditional, very ancient art, and bubble wrap is 20th century, you know. So interesting. And the thing is with, it is interesting, isn't it? Because man-made costumes, theatre, and then, you know, we've been around for thousands of years, and then some of this is going to be here today and gone tomorrow. And I like that mix.
Yeah, that does appeal to me. I like having like laptops or phones and things mixed in, especially if I'm using like old stories, if that's classical or religious or whatever. I like having the mix with also like the what would be our, not alternatives, but our, like in like the Statue of Liberty, you can't tell because it's so dark, the painting, but she's holding a phone as the torch, right, instead of fire or whatever. It's it just means, I think it makes sense to me. In my head, it makes sense, and I like
and that's the point. You paint from yourself, and you always share a part of who you are in the work that you make. But the one piece that a couple of people have commented is the green with envy, because that feels quite Paula Rego. So what's that one about?
Weirdly, I think, I can't remember if it was after I'd been to the exhibition in London, the Paula Rego exhibition.
Right, okay.
I think I'd started, I'm using it as the excuse, I'd started it before I did the painting. But I think I did. I think I'd finished or was almost finished. I think it's something in the color palette as well. It's quite I can see what they mean, and I knew that myself after I'd been to the exhibition. I was like, wait a minute,
it's come out there. Well, a couple of people obviously have mentioned the purple and the green, which is of course the suffragette color. And in terms of your colors, their colors are used in a quite evocative way. I mean, Veil of Tears, bright red, you know, and red is a very evocative, very emotional color. and then I can see the figure behind me. I think, yeah, isn't that what I think, that Statue of Liberty? Obviously, you've got the dark and the light, so you've got that deliberate contrast. Certainly the Muse Must Die made me laugh as well. And you know, part of me thinks, oh, should I be laughing? But you know, there's
definitely yeah, of course.
Because those contrasts appeal to me, and people will have different reactions, and I think that's fine. And I am interested to see where how long the bubble wrap stories will last, because I can see that this idea of hiding and partly revealing stories can be very appealing, and having all that together might start to link the images together, because at the moment the link is the bubble wrap, the link is the wrapped figure, but I've not worked out particularly a link between those figures, but I think that they may be. Do you see a link between the wrapped figures at the moment? Yeah.
The wrapped and the non-wrapped?
No, just the wrapped. So all the wrapped figures, do they interact? Have their stories got a connection?
Actually, that's not something that I've considered. I think the exhibition, seeing them all together, I think that changes things, because I had the way that I make them is one at a time, and I hadn't really had, like, obviously the bubble wrap is the link, but there's not really a story between them. It's more just whatever the next painting, the next idea that I'm working on. Okay. Yeah, so not that I'm aware of. When you're talking about colour, I don't know, I find colour quite difficult. I don't know, because a lot of them seem so bright, it may not seem like that, but a lot of the time I find colour quite difficult to work with. I don't know, and it's not something I find easy, but I like it.
Well, when you set up the tableaux, or the scenes, if you like, have you got a coloured background, or is that a choice when you paint?
No, that can come after the photos. But I've got an idea before with the one I'm working on now, and I know it will probably be. But
do you manipulate? Sorry to interrupt. Do you manipulate the photos, or no? No, right, okay.
Like I don't even have a clear background, so a lot of the time I'm taking the stuff all over behind.
Okay,
yeah. The only thing if I can see like the figure, that's all that really matters. And then if I'm using something like a bed, as long as that's like visible for the images, then that's okay.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the body of work? Because I've done quite a lot of talking.
It was actually strange to see them all as one. I really enjoyed seeing that in the exhibition.
Okay,
that's not something that when you're working you get to do. So it's sort of like a step back. I do think that I'm going to be carrying on with this bubble wrap way of working for quite some time, I think. So there's so much that I want to do with it. And I feel quite unsure about going back to just having a painting without any bubble wrap in. That seems, I don't know how.
No, it's great. Well, you know, if and when you stop using your bubble wrap, we'll have it off you. So, well, look, thanks so much for talking to me. I think the work is really strong, really intriguing. We've had so much interest and fascination with not only the content, but also the painting. You've had a lot of comment about how you paint. I like the fact that certainly on some of the images, you've left some underdrawing that's visible, and the different ways in which you've applied your paint, with detailed areas and looser areas. So it's been lovely. It's been a really I mean, it's still on at the moment, but it's lovely to see such strong painting as well as content, and we're enjoying it very much. So the exhibition at Cupola Gallery continues until the 9th of July. We're open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And thank you very much for sharing with us. Okay.
Well, thank you for having the show. It's been amazing.
No, it's great. And don't miss out, people, because it's a fabulous show. Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye then. Bye-bye.